Why? Why did you do this to me? I could soar like a pigeon. My bladder is full, but my heart is just as full. Nobody has ever said this to me. Nobody. Don't confuse shit with chocolato. Because this is so stupid. How do people keep a straight face on set with Jared Leto? I do not know. Hey up guys, so today's movie that I'm going to be discussing is the latest film from director Ridley Scott called House of Gucci, which details the real-life juicy drama of the Italian fashion family dynasty Gucci. The film boasts an all-star cast which includes Academy Award winner Lady Gaga, Academy Award nominee Adam Driver, Academy Award winner Jeremy Irons, Academy Award winner Al Pacino, Academy Award nominee Salma Hayek, and Academy Award winner Jared Leto. Good God, this was the most obnoxious marketing campaign I've ever seen for a film. But as you guys know, as an Oscar enthusiast / channel, I was very excited to see House of Gucci. But what did I think of House of Gucci? I'll say this. I wasn't ever bored watching this film, but do I think it's a great movie? No. Do I think it's a bad movie? Kinda. But it's not unwatchable. Do I think it will get some Oscar nominations? I'll go into greater detail later in the review, but as a reminder, if you guys do like Oscar season coverage and lots of film and TV reviews, then click that subscribe button. Also help support the channel by hitting that thumbs up button or by getting involved in the comment section down below. What did you think of House of Gucci? Do you think it's going to get any Oscar noms? Do get involved in the discussion because I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this film. Okay, let's talk Gucci. Based on a book which was based on real events, the House of Gucci story is one of family, greed, corruption, sex, betrayal, power, and murder. Thematically, it's just as rich as any of Shakespeare's work, but Shakespeare this is not. The script by Becky Johnston and Roberto Bentavega is a feature-length soap opera that's riddled with cliched and cringy dialogue, which most likely will become very memeable and quotable for all the wrong reasons. I'm telling you, that whole father, son, and House of Gucci line is just the tip of the iceberg. I've also heard people comparing this film to The Godfather, and I guess I can kind of see how they got there, because it's an Italian family grappling with power dynamics, but this is not in the same league as The Godfather. In fact, putting those two films in the same sentence together just makes me feel dirty. House of Gucci sadly doesn't know what it wants to be. Tonally, this film is super inconsistent. Really, what this film is lacking is a singular vision. Ridley Scott didn't communicate clearly enough with his cast and crew on what he envisioned this film to be. He just kind of leaves everyone to their own devices. Everybody's doing their own thing, and the end result is a film that's entertaining, but overall, it's very wonky. I also didn't see any passion in Ridley Scott's direction. Was he just here for the paycheck? A lot of people have been labeling this film as campy, but if you ask me, this film isn't campy enough, and I really wish Ridley Scott had gone down the campy route and embraced the absurdity of the story, because there really was a goldmine of ridiculous stuff to adapt. But he's made a serious, silly movie, and the end product is just a film that is so unsure of itself. The film spans several decades from the late 70s to the late 90s, and the primary catalyst for the drama within the House of Gucci is the arrival of Patrizia Reggiani, played brilliantly by Lady Gaga, who marries into the Gucci family. Her husband is Maurizio Gucci, played by Adam Driver. Patrizia is ambitious and a master manipulator, and we see, even though it's Maurizio's name on the business and brand, it's Patrizia who is pulling the strings. And eventually we see how her scheming leads to rifts between Gucci family members, arrests, backstabbing, and even a murder. I won't say who gets murdered because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who doesn't have any pre-existing knowledge of the whole Gucci scandal. I didn't know anything about this story, but it really is bonkers. Which is why it makes me think Ridley Scott wasn't the right person to tell the story of Gucci. I can't help but think, what would someone like Baz Luhrmann or Ryan Murphy have done with this story? Because Ridley Scott's House of Gucci is neither campy or glamorous, which is what a story like this really needed. I mean, come on, you've got a TV psychic called Pina, played by Salma Hayek, giving counsel to Patrizia on her affairs and business. It's absolutely ridiculous. But it doesn't treat it like it's ridiculous. It takes it super seriously. The word which gets thrown around about 50 times in the script is chic, but it's ironic that nothing about this film felt chic at all to me. The cinematography by Dariusz Wolski was so bland and lifeless. Some of the scenes were poorly lit, and muddy beige is what I would use to describe the color palette of this film, which is not in the least bit chic. Honestly, the word that I would use to describe the House of Gucci aesthetic is tacky. This film cost $75 million to make. I tell you, it takes a lot of money to look and feel this cheap. The soundtrack does try to inject a bit of campy energy into the film. It's a mix of like 80s dance floor bangers and opera, but rarely does the song do anything to elevate the scene that it's in. With the exception of a very memorable sex scene, that was priceless. Baz Luhrmann would have known how to elevate a scene with a pop-tastic song, but with Ridley Scott's music choices, it just feels lazy. It's just like, oh, this song was big in the 80s, it's popular, people know it, so people will enjoy hearing it when it's on the screen. It doesn't do anything to improve what we're watching. And what really makes me think that Ridley Scott was asleep at the wheel while directing this film is how he directs his actors, because you've got scenes with lots of different cast members in who are all doing very different types of performances. It's just strange that he didn't pick up on, oh, these performances are clashing with each other. Like, people are acting for the back row, and some people are giving really subdued, nuanced performances. Like I said before, everybody's just kind of doing their own thing in this film. Lady Gaga and Adam Driver are taking it very seriously. Jeremy Irons' accent is all over the place as Rodolfo. Al Pacino is just the right amount of ham as Uncle Aldo. I liked him, but when he has to share a scene with Jared Leto, whoo boy. Jared Leto as the pitiful oddball Paolo. Good God, what do I say about this performance? Well, it's certainly memorable, but again, for all the wrong reasons. Here's the thing, you can actually make an argument that Jared Leto is the only actor who read the script and saw it for what it should have been, a campy, overripe melodrama, and he's very committed to delivering that. But nobody else got the memo. And because it's such an over-the-top, boisterous, ridiculous performance, compared to his scene partners who are giving more subdued performances, he stands out like a sore thumb. So, depending on who you ask, some people will say that he delivers a brilliant, entertaining, eccentric performance, whereas others will say he delivers a loud, scenery-chewing, borderline offensive, walking stereotype of an Italian man. It's like, has he even met a real Italian person in the real world? It's me, Jared Leto. Look at me, I'm acting. I need all eyes to be on me. Why? You sack of potatoes. Stop, you're going to make me cry. Ugh. Yeah, he really is just Super Mario. Oh my God, Hollywood has missed a trick there. They shouldn't have cast Chris Pratt. It should have been Jared Leto. This really is a divisive performance because some people really love what he's doing here and others think it's abysmal. And it is the type of role that I can see landing both an Oscar nomination and a Razzie nomination, just like Glenn Close in Hillbilly Elegy last year. But I can still understand why some people like what he brought to this film, because he does inject some levity into the film. But I honestly don't know if I was laughing because he's giving a funny performance or because I was just laughing at a terrible performance. Honestly, I think it's the latter. But what do you guys think of Jared Leto's Paolo? Good? Bad? Do you think he's gonna get some awards attention for it? Whatever you have to say, let me know in that comment section down below. Speaking of awards, do I think House of Gucci will get some Oscar nominations? Potentially. This film is making money, and despite its glaring faults, there are certain attributes of it which are worthy of praising. As far as acting goes, I think Lady Gaga is probably the most likeliest to get an acting nomination for Best Actress. She brings a real sense of gravitas to the role, adding dimensions to what could have been a very cartoonish villain type. And Lady Gaga does add a little bit of theatricality to the performance, but it never crosses the line into pantomime, like, say, Jared Leto. But again, like I said with Jared Leto, this is the type of performance that I could see him landing a nomination for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars. For good or for bad, Jared Leto is memorable in this film, and the Academy does tend to acknowledge comic relief, scenery-chewing performances in the supporting acting categories. Plus, the Best Supporting Actor race is still wide open. There's no clear frontrunner yet, and when it comes time for the voters to fill out their ballots, Jared Leto is going to leap off the ballot. It's going to be in all their minds, that performance, because it's loud, it's grabby, it's funny. He's buried in prosthetics. The Academy loves that. So yeah, I think he actually does have a good shot of being nominated. I personally don't think he's deserving. There are so many other supporting performances I would rather see get a nomination over this one. Even Al Pacino in this film I would rather see get a nomination over Jared Leto. And speaking of prosthetics, hair and makeup seems like a shoo-in for House of Gucci, because I didn't even know that was Jared Leto when I first saw the trailer for this film. So yeah, it's gonna get a nom for hair and makeup. I could even see it potentially winning. Maybe costume design? I mean, a film which is all about a fashion family does have a natural advantage in this category, but costume design is actually quite a competitive category this year, so I don't know if House of Gucci would be a lock. But that's it really. I cannot see this film getting nominated for cinematography, direction, script, or Best Picture. Even with 10 slots, this film just, it's nothing special. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? Well, I've already seen this film twice, so yes, it is rewatchable. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? Oh my god, do I recommend this film? I do, and I don't. If you're a fan of Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, or Al Pacino, then I think you'll like what they deliver in this film. They're really good in an average film, but overall, this film is a tonal and total mess. So I wouldn't push this film on anybody, so not really. But if you are curious about it, then yeah, go check it out. And third question, what score do I give it out of 10? House of Gucci? Try House of Gauche, because this film really is tacky. I was let down by this film because there was so much story to tell and not enough time to do it in, which is why I think this film would have worked better as a mini-series. It somehow feels rushed and also far too long. You can see from the editing of this film that there was so much more story to tell, but so much of it had been chopped out, and it does feel choppy whilst you watch it. So much character development is rushed or just reduced to a throwaway sentence. And yet there's still scenes which somehow made it into the final cut, like Aldo and Paolo getting lost in a parking lot looking for a car. I just didn't like what Ridley Scott did with this story. Quite frankly, it was lacking in campy fun energy, and if it had been campy, then Jared Leto's performance would probably be considered brilliant. And the ending was just very anticlimactic, but still, I didn't hate this film. There was enough in it to keep me entertained. So I'm gonna give House of Gucci a score of 4 out of 10. But as always guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. Whatever you thought of House of Gucci, let me know in the comment section down below. Remember to hit that like button if you want more movie, TV and Oscars content. Don't forget to click subscribe, and if you want to follow me on any social media, all those links in that video description down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Garfield, and I'll see you next time.